Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we have calls from my girlfriend, calls from my boyfriend.
Calls from her boyfriend.
Sorry, calls from her boyfriend.
In other words, me?
Yeah, I guess. And Mouthful of Pennies. So, for those of you just tuning in, go Google creepypasta. Did I say creepypasta? Go Google creepypasta. But essentially, they're short, scary stories that get copied and pasted across the internet.
Now I'm wondering if creepypasta is a thing.
It might be.
Just a bunch of fucking stories about about sick babies. It's actually really sad.
It's actually like those like tearjerker kind of like people. Like, yeah. Anyway, so we decided to do these three. We're gonna do them separate. Even though calls from my girlfriend and calls from her boyfriend are update, or like one is an update of the other, but they are separate stories.
The her in calls from her boyfriend is the girlfriend from calls from my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Whoa. It's way more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah. And then we'll have that'll be the main course, and then we'll have a side dish or what have you of Mouthful of Pennies.
And in a few years, people will be like, "What the fuck's a penny?"
Yeah, exactly. Do we really have to want to explain? No, we don't want to explain it on the show. Go Google it. Go Google a penny. What? Don't look at me like that. So, calls from my girlfriend is done up in the first person. Like, the guy's typing it up as if it actually happened. Like, the account happened like a couple of days ago. So the guy gets home one night, like really late in the evening.
He'd been out drinking, and his girlfriend's gonna be pissed.
Yeah,
we've all been there.
Yeah, well,
I have.
Anyways, so
trust me, you're not missing out on much. Yes, he is.
Thanks, Dr. Leviathan. So he gets into bed as quietly as possible, digging like every goddamn corner in the process. And no sooner does he hit the sheets and starts dozing off than his phone goes off. So he goes and checks it, and it's a message from his girlfriend calling, saying that she's downstairs with the laundry. Can he give her a hand? And the girlfriend also is right next to him sleeping. So he like lunges forward, like flips the sheets, like shines the light in her face, and like finds out that no, it's her. But she's pissed, so she like you assholes, like turns over, kicks him a couple of times.
She's all like half asleep, and yeah,
it's like so it's his girlfriend. It's not like some imposter like we've had in other stories. But who's on the other end of the phone? The phone though did hang up. So, but then it calls again. So he picks it up, and it's a repeat of the same message. So he kind of freaks out, goes out to the window. And her car is right down below the apartment room window. And so they check, and in the window in the car, in the driver's seat, is her. But she's wrong. Like, she's twisted. Like, the more he looks at her, she's twisted and, like, gnarled. And it has, like, kind of an impression of her face, but it's not entirely her face because it's warped. And it really freaks him out. So he actually like gets his girlfriend over there to look at it, so he knows he's not crazy. And lo and shock, he's actually like she sees the same thing, and she freaks out too. So and this thing inhumanly like tries to call him again, and then when he doesn't reply or anything like that, it gets out of the car and has this really disjointed, inhuman like movements, and like its head like is always like its face is always to him. As it's like speeding away at a really creepy, like jerky movement.
It's like power walking.
Yeah, it's power walking.
That's literally all it says.
Sorry. I envisioned something different.
I know, but you can't use that to embellish someone else's writing and then talk about it here because it makes them sound like they wrote way more and way better.
So Yeah, and the whole time...
I like your description better than power walking. That's why we can't use it.
Damn it. So yeah, it power walks away, but the whole time, like, still staring at the people in the window, and just goes off into the darkness. This really freaks them out, obviously, and they kind of just huddle there in their by their bed until morning, when they finally wake up, and they find out that they have both of them on both of their phones have like 18 messages,
a bunch of missed calls.
A bunch of missed calls, and like from each other's cell phones. So this thing apparently can emulate your cell phone number and stuff.
Oh no! It's ghosted your SIM card.
So suffice to say, they don't want to leave their apartment, so they both call in. And a couple of days ago...
Nope, that's the end.
Is that it? Okay, sorry, yeah. Yeah, and that's the end of the first story. So, do we want to discuss the first story and then do the... Okay. So, yeah, like, this one was cool because it was like, you're just reading it, and it's like, what the fuck? It's over. It just kind of, like, you get this creepy moment, and I was actually really happy that it was, like, she didn't come to the window, and it was like, oh, what are you talking about? There's nothing there. And then he looks, and there's nothing there.
And then it keeps going on for, like, 17 fucking more hours of reading, and you're just fucking fed up with it. Yeah. It was short, sweet, it got to the point, and then, gave you the point, and then ended.
Exactly.
Right where it should.
Yeah.
It wasn't, like, it could have been...
It could have kept going.
It could have been lengthened, it could have gone on for a series of days. I honestly don't feel like the guy who wrote it had that in him. Mm-hmm. Personal opinion. But, like, yeah, it was...
It was a nice, quick creepypasta.
Yeah.
Like, it delivered some creepiness. It doesn't explain the creepiness, which always helps with when you're doing something like this.
And it confirmed the creepiness by having her see it.
Yeah,
and,
so it wasn't just him. Yeah.
I was a little confused why, it was calling both of them. I'm a little confused as to how neither of them picked up any of the previous phone calls. Yeah. Like, he was out drinking and his phone was on vibrate, but I mean, you're gonna check your phone at some point.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be like, oh man, missed call, and then you're gonna turn on the ringer in case they call back. Theoretically.
You think.
And I mean, like, okay, so she clearly just went to bed before 1 and the phone never woke her. I can buy that, but he was out drinking. You're gonna check your phone.
Yeah, like, you're gonna feel the vibration, and even if you're drunk. And
go out to a bar.
Yeah.
And
don't use
take a view, like, just take stock of the younger people around you, and just count how many times
somebody opens their phone.
They check their phone, if they ever stop looking at the goddamn thing.
Yeah.
In an hour. And he's out for several, like...
Yeah, he was out out in the bar for, like, till, like, 2 or 3 in the morning, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, yeah, like, he was out for a while. Like, the bars are closed.
Yeah.
When he got back, so...
So, like, yeah, it's a little unbelievable that he never caught any of these phone calls.
Mm-hmm. But...
That's just me.
Yeah, it's just a little thing. Yeah, and, like, the creature, or the entity was... described, like, it was given. We're given enough detail to kind of insinuate that this thing is not human.
We're given enough detail to come up with our own
imagery of it.
Yeah, like, our own vision of what it looks like. Because for me, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like I got a almost Pumpkinhead vibe from it, except for the.
Not quite xenophobic.
Shape of the head.
Sorry, not quite xenomorphic.
But, like, like...
More like a human
I'm picturing,
version.
Like, that kind of monster.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, it was kind of like a desiccated, elongated, or, like, stretched out, like corpse kind of thing.
Yeah, almost like a ghoul.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, it mentions, like, it does say, like, power walking as a way, but its face was always, like, looking at them, so I was thinking that it's either its head was completely stretched or, like, turned around as it walked away.
You know what? I've actually got... I've got a nice brand new picture. A ghoul form of the Ice Cream Man from Legion.
Oh, God! Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. That's what it felt like to be.
Because I remember actually thinking... Like, thinking about the ice cream man from Legion.
Yeah, because they even say the girlfriend's face was
extended and stuff, and
even the face was
but
her smile was
I wasn't picturing a human looking. I was picturing okay, yeah, it's humanoid,
but
I was picturing gray skin, maybe even a little scaly or something. Just humanoid, but monster.
Yeah.
Definitely a monster, but because it was, in the shadows, because it's the fucking middle of the night, right? Yeah. And I'm not picturing a well-lit
at best I was picturing one or two lamps in the or light posts.
Yeah, so I'm picturing this thing that it's sitting in the car, because if you see someone sitting in the car, yeah, you're gonna think, oh, it must be that person.
Yeah.
But at any good amount of any good view of it, and you're just like, oh man, was I wrong?
Yeah, exactly. So it was the first the calls from my girlfriend was actually a really good creepypasta, effectively a creepypasta.
Yeah.
And much like sequels tend to do, the next one, Calls from Her Boyfriend, continued on after that night, and obviously the guy got a bunch of. I did check. The guy had a bunch of comments for the first one, and he actually interacted with the commenters as the character. So we then moved on to this next one where he goes into detail about how the next morning they called up the
they called in
sick,
work,
and stayed there for a couple of days, or just the day. I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
And then did they get? Sorry, I did read this last night.
Yeah, they checked their phones that day, and that night before they went to bed, and there was nothing, and they woke up and there was nothing. And then he has to work an evening shift, and she's working during the day, so she goes to work,
and then
she's going to go to her friends because he's going to be at work in the evening.
Yeah, and he's getting paranoid during his work shift because
he forgets to charge his phone.
Yeah, so he's just kind of getting worried about her and stuff. Then goes home, rushes home, tosses his phone into the charger. Waits some agonizing minutes to get it to charge, and then looks for messages. And there was a message saying that from his girlfriend saying that nothing weird's happening. I'm gonna come back. And he's freaking out. He's like, what? No, don't do that. What are you doing? So, triggers that after?
No.
Okay.
He gets the phone to charge, and there's 5 missed calls from her, and then he goes to dial her. But before he can, his phone rings, and he's all like, oh man, I'm going to hear something about laundry, because that's what it was in the first one.
Yeah.
But then it's her, and she's all like, yeah, I'm almost in the neighborhood. I got your call that you were leaving work early, blah, 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 so I'm on my way now, because I didn't want to get here early, even though you were leaving work early.
Yeah.
Woman logic. Someone had to. Well, okay, the explanation is that he called her early, or to say he's leaving work early. So instead of going home early to meet him early, she's like, oh, okay, well, I'll go when he's off, so that because I don't want to be there alone, even though he's going to be there early.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, and then he's all like, no, you stay there, and, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And my phone was dead, so it wasn't me that called, which means it's here.
And then does she... Because she responds to that, he does actually call her.
Yeah, she's all like, oh my god, it must be there with you, and I'm gonna go home, or I'm gonna go back, I love you, and he's all like, I love you too!
Yeah, it's all tropes.
And then he's all... Yeah.
And then he's just on the defensive and paranoid and looking out and stuff.
Yeah. And then he gets a text from her saying that she's coming home a couple hours later, I think.
Yeah, because nothing weird's happened.
Yeah.
Which, okay, why?
Yeah.
Why would you even I wouldn't I was like, all right, I'm not going near my house right now.
And then he calls her and there's no answer, and then he texts her to, stay away, and then he's wait, what? Oh, okay, no, he gets a call from her.
Yeah.
And he's all like, what the fuck are you doing? Stay away from the house. And then she starts screaming. And is all like, oh my god, please help me, it's got me. And he's all like, it's got me. And he's like,
she's got my woman. It's got my woman. I gotta go deal with this.
I'm a man.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh god. Like,
time for me to be a man.
It's something went into an action film. It's like... So
he grabs a baseball bat, for close encounters.
Yeah. And rushes down the hall out into the parking lot. It's like, all right, where is this bastard? And just looks around, scouring through the parking lot, and realizes that her car isn't there. Well, maybe it followed her to her friend's house. And then he realizes...
Or maybe it was in the car on the way here, or maybe it was blah, 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 or maybe I'm a fucking retard.
And I just fell into the trap.
No, because he goes to his car, and there's Megan sitting in the car.
Right, yeah.
He's all like, oh, it's you, and he gets up, and he's like, wait, it's not you.
Yeah, as it turns over, and it's like, it's a little bit more humanoid looking, or it's a little bit more like her, but it's not, it's all twisted.
Yeah, this time I get the vibe that it's totally looks exactly like her,
and then it starts distorting a little bit, at the seams, essentially, kind of thing. It's kind of where I go, where it suddenly just smiles uncannily, wide.
No, it screws up when it talks.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
And its lips don't match its words.
Okay, so it
doesn't do anything. It just talks wrong.
Yeah,
and he's all like, "Fuck me,"
and he drops the bat. Backs away. It comes out of the car. It's a lot taller than him, and it just starts approaching him. And
he's running for the
then he runs for the apartment building, and it's
all coming after him.
But he doesn't hear any footsteps or anything like that. But he turns around stupidly, and it's right there,
but it doesn't
shuffling without noise apparently. Whatever. It's a supernatural entity. And he runs up to it. He finally does get up to his hotel or his apartment building room. Closes the door, locks it. Just huddles there, cries because he sees that, or he can.
Well, he looks at the people, and there's its eye staring at him.
Yeah,
he's all like, "Oh my god, it's in the building," which kind of leads me to wonder, okay, so now it's in the building. Now it can,
go after any of these other people,
anyone, but it isn't because it's targeting you, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it happens in supernatural movies and stuff.
It's still bullshit.
I know.
I don't care. I'm calling bullshit on it.
And he gets up, stays up as much as he can, but eventually he falls asleep and wakes up screaming to the light of the sun, and checks his phone, I think, and is there...
Yep.
Okay, so there...
And there's a text from his girly friend, and she's all like, nothing weird's happened, and I'll see you soon. And... Yeah,
he just throws the phone against the wall, breaking it. And then hasn't heard back, and then he's left there without the girlfriend never really shows up, and because
he's all like, it was 7:38, but we don't know what time it is now.
Yeah,
so it's okay,
a whole day went by essentially. Where his girlfriend didn't... It's 7:30 p.m.
Oh, okay, it was 7:30. Well, then, fuck, you gotta switch your provider, man, because you're getting texts way too late. Sorry, I read that as 7:38 a.m.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I read that.
Well, now it makes sense, but...
Still, yeah.
It brings up other fucking questions.
Yeah.
And then he makes the supposition in, the last sentence that, it can only mimic, so in order for it to have her screaming and being all, horrified and shit, what must it have done to her?
Yeah, and then it ends.
But
I know.
There's
It's
no...
like a dun-dun.
Like, well, no, that's a big... Like, that's just a fucking conclusion jump to...
Yeah.
I mean...
Almost like he was trying...
It's almost... It kind of, like, leads you to believe that, but at the same time, it said so much that we don't hear, and that we don't have confirmation that it mimics.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, so it could have just, like, it could have just distorted the words to make it seem like...
It could have just fucking, like, okay, in the first story, yes, it says what she said, and that's all it says, but we don't know what it was going to say when it called her as him, blah, blah, blah. Like...
Yeah, and actually...
I mean, this thing is smart enough to fucking hijack your phone.
Yeah. And
without your phone.
Yeah. Which, I mean...
So I'm led to believe that, you know, it can probably fucking talk.
Yeah. Without the need of...
And master the English language.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually a couple people on the comments below, because, again, the guy was, again, responding to commenters, and people were giving their theories and like, suggestions about it, or, like, what's going on. And one of them was like, well, maybe it didn't, maybe it overheard your, her subtle scream, when you told her to, like, go back, like, don't come back to the house or something like that, and that was enough for it to mimic the scream or something. So, like, some people did toss some ideas around, trying to explain why this thing was able to scream and stuff, or details that didn't really make sense in the story.
Yeah, because there's a lot of shit that just fucking doesn't make sense in this one. Like, the timeline and who, like, when he's talking to his girlfriend, whether or not it's ever actually the monster, and when and where. Like,
that's the thing.
It's just fucking off the whole time, and I'm just like, okay, is it always the monster? Is it never the monster? Is it sometimes the monster, sometimes not the monster? Like, fuck!
Yeah, it's convoluted because, you're not sure
because there's no explanation ever at any point for what he's talking to and what he's not, because I'm actually under the impression that he never talked to her last night.
Yeah.
So...
But this is one thing I do like about the story, is that it does have a kind, not a message, but it does have a motif, or like one of the, like in horror things, they try to, like, throw something on its head, whereas this kind of shows just how dependent some people are on cell phones, or, like, on your phone. Like, the whole time he's talking to, like, the girlfriend, like, he's trying to contact her through the phone, when the phone has already been corrupted from the first story.
Yeah, that was actually another...
So, like, I liked that idea of it, but...
Well, that was actually another talking point for me of, like, how fucking ridiculous this is. Because it's like, okay, he's at work, his phone dies. Well, why don't you check in with your girly friend by calling her on the landline that I'm sure your work has?
Yeah. Unless you don't know her phone number, because all you use is the cell phone list, which I am guilty of doing that sometimes with phone numbers.
Yeah, I'm guilty of it too, but I mean,
it's your girlfriend. You probably should know her number.
Yeah. And just, if you're fucking prone to not charging your phone, wouldn't you think that you'd, like, get a phone charger and keep it in your car? Yeah. Like, even if it's not for your car, like, just keep it in your car so you can go out to your car and grab it and charge your phone. Yeah,
while you're on your break for 15 minutes. I mean, if you were you were freaking out the whole day, like, about your girlfriend, like, and not being able to contact her.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have that kind of thing. But.
Well, and I mean, like, the story states that it's, a habitual thing that he forgets to charge his phone and walks around with a dead phone all day. Like...
Yeah.
You think you'd take a fucking proactive step to, okay, I forget to charge my phone. Okay, so I'm gonna take this step so that I can at least charge it after I've forgotten. But whatever.
Yeah. It's like you mentioned off the recorder, was that this, like, the first one, like, the difference between these two is that the first one was like Alien, and this one felt like Aliens. Like, it was... One was a horror one, this one was a lot more kind of action-y and not really concerned with the horror aspect of it. Or tried to be horror, but also tossed in, like, a lot of inconsistency.
There was nothing creepy about the update.
Yeah.
It was just, it was a thing.
You could tell he was trying to make it creepy, but when it like confronted him out on the parking lot, but that was just his own goddamn fault. Like he literally walked right into that.
I was literally just like the whole time I had it called. There was no surprise here.
Yeah. Also,
on this one, because I'm like, gee, I wonder if it's a trap. Akbar, what do you think?
Yeah.
And
also, it's kind of hard to get really freaked out, like what's going to happen to this guy when he's writing in a format that details that he's writing in a format.
It dictates that he's alive.
Like, had it been his girlfriend writing this update, it would have been interesting. But that's not what we got.
Well, and I mean, there was always something could have happened to the girlfriend, and that's kind of what he tries to allude to, but he has, like, zero evidence about it.
Yeah.
And
like, she could be fine, but she just decided to stay away because she may have been smart and actually just stayed away from the house for a while. So, and that's why he hasn't been hearing from her.
Yeah,
because she doesn't know who to trust on the phone.
Exactly, or maybe she's been talking to you all this time, and like, I mean, it's fucking postponing text from her by like what, more than 12 hours?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's. There's no concrete proof that anything happened to her. There's just, like, conclusion jumping.
Yeah.
And I hate conclusion jumping because my mind is always like, okay, you're jumping to a conclusion. Now, what you do is you take a step back and say, okay, what could have happened? What's most likely to have happened?
Yeah.
And then you figure out what happened, Because you can't jump to a conclusion because odds are you're fucking...
You're overthinking it.
Odds are you're fucking wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically. And because, I mean, that's why it's called jumping to a conclusion, not, jumping to the right fucking answer.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like... Pretty much the first one was good the way it was, and then he got some ideas from the commenters and decided to try and expand on it.
Yeah.
And
comparing it to Alien and Aliens is kind of
because Aliens is a good movie too.
Yeah, Aliens
sorry. Yeah,
Aliens is a good version of what, or it's a good example of what it is, but it's not the same type of movie as the first one, whereas this one...
I'd say this one's actually a good example of, like, bad sequels.
Well, yeah.
To a... Like, even if there's some good... Like, there are some good ideas in this. There are things I enjoyed about this second story, or this update, but they weren't as effective as the short and sweet creepiness that we got in the first one.
Well, and this... The second one would have almost worked better as a completely different story, because it's all different now.
Yeah.
That was really my thing, is it...
Yeah,
in the first one, you get the idea that it can't really mimic a person's physical appearance, but in the second one, it fucking perfectly
it's getting
does.
close. Yeah, it's gotten closer, and it just can't mimic voice lipping.
The thing is that in the first one, you don't get the impression that it can mimic a person's physical appearance, but in the second one, that's exactly what it fucking does.
Yeah,
and it's like...
it went from
it doesn't feel like the same creature.
Exactly, yeah.
Except for the phone calls, but even those, it's changed its tactics completely.
Yeah, it goes from mimic to shapeshifter. Like, audio mimic to just full-on shape-shifting entity.
And it's you would think that, my simple but probably really super effective trap didn't work last night. So instead of targeting the same two people
let's go to another person in the apartment.
Let's just go... Not even in the apartment!
Yeah.
In the rest of the fucking city!
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you've got... I don't know how many people, but you got more than two fucking people to pick from.
Yeah. Even if it's a small town.
Move on to someone else and try your simple, yet probably very effective technique of, oh, hey, can you let me in? I forgot my key. Or... what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
You know what? It's probably going to work.
Exactly. Because in the first one, it shows that it was disappointed as it ran or walked away, or power walked away. But it was like, it's like, oh shucks. All right, let's go to another place and find it. See if I can snag somebody else.
Because to
whatever ends I'm doing.
Yeah, I always assume that it's to feed.
Yeah,
because it's one of those basic needs, right? Mm-hmm. So if it's alive, it has that need.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, okay, you've got a basic trap. It's like a spider.
It's like
spins a web.
Yep. And waits.
If it doesn't catch a fucking fly, it doesn't make a gun.
Yeah.
You know, it just
waits.
Maybe it spins another web somewhere else, but it's still a web. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, it's
it doesn't
not,
create a more complex way of doing it. Yeah.
It doesn't fucking, you know, jury rig some sort of trebuchet and start throwing rocks at flies. No, it just tries a different fucking web, maybe somewhere else. I'm like, oh shit, I thought this was a great place for a web, but I'll try it over here instead.
Yeah. Because again, like, you have an entire city or wherever you are to, like, do stuff. Like, there's more than one person. Like, why are you... It just, like, adds, like, why are you making these two people special?
Yeah, because they're not.
They're the one. Yeah, they're the ones that got away. Big deal. You have bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can find another, like, another schmuck somewhere down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, It tried to elaborate on, like, oh, well, these people are special, but they're being stalked.
Also, I'm a little confused in why in the first one it was waiting in the car. Why wouldn't it be waiting right beside the door? Just like, you know, like, all crouched there, all salivating, all just, like, and then he comes out the door, waits for the door to close, and then pounces on him. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. I'm not some sort of predatory animal, but that's how I would do it.
Yeah, like, it just... Like, it was like, I don't know.
See, and because of this shit, I'm at, like, because of the second story, I'm asking these questions about, like, the whole thing in...
general.
Yeah, like, this thing should have never been seen. It should have just been like,
Yeah.
Because then, if that was the case, when he looked out the window in the first one, wouldn't have seen the thing, would have just been like, oh... Must just be fucky, you know? I mean, I have no reasonable explanation for it, but my phone must just be fucky. And then, you know, she checks her phone later, and she's like, oh, how sweet, he was calling me from the bar.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
and then the next day, it can try again and be like, oh yeah, I forgot my key. And then he comes out, and it's like, oh, motherfucker.
Yeah, like... Yeah, I mean, like, that is actually a good point. Like, it kind of ruins the magic from the first one, because the first one, it's like, what? And it's over. And that's
there's
it.
More,
and we're good.
And in the second one, there's more detail, there's more...
And so it leaves us to speculate more, and we...
Well, so now we're taking a closer look at it. Because we have more information, and we're taking a closer look, and it's like, this thing is just fucking retarded.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, okay, so, yeah, it ruins the horror of both stories because of the second one. Details.
Yeah.
Alright.
That being said, the first one on its own still works.
Yeah.
Just don't read the update.
Yeah. Just leave it as is. Alright, so...
Which is what the writer should have done. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you've got something and it's working, just fucking leave it.
Just stop. We're done. Yeah. Yeah, so I'd say that's probably... I think our opinions are pretty vocalized there. It's like, first one, awesome. Second one, eh.
Well, the first one isn't awesome. The first one's effective.
I mean, compared.
It works.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
I did
compare
say
them all to Jeff the Killer, and all of a sudden they're all awesome.
That's not true. There's Laughing Jack.
Compared to Jeff the Killer, still awesome.
Fair enough.
Not really.
No. So, yeah. So the first one was good. Second one could have been... Just be left alone.
The second one is detrimental to the whole thing.
Yeah. All right. And then we move on to A Mouthful of Pennies, which is a fairly short one. It's like a 6-minute read. But it's essentially this narrator has heard stories, or like growing up with his or her dad. I kind of figured it was a girl for some reason, but yeah, it's not important.
It's ambiguous. Maybe when things are ambiguous, you just picture a woman or a female. You know, you put yourself in the skin of a female in your imagination.
So
Freud would have something to say about that.
Probably. Anyway, so they've heard stories of like something in the woods nearby, all like from like different people, all having like the same kind of similar thing, but like different takes on it. So
yeah, there's the story's always the same but different.
people add on to it or something.
It's a local legend.
Yeah. So they decide to grab like a hunting knife and a flashlight and stuff and go out into the woods and see for it for themselves.
That stuff was foam.
Oh, sorry, the phone.
Because that was the only other thing.
I know. Couldn't remember it, okay?
And then they're walking in the woods for an hour and they haven't heard or seen anything. Oh, and then 30 more minutes. And this is something I gotta attack because it pissed me off. They start to taste something odd and metallic-y. Metallic-y, not a word. Yeah. For a reason. Because the word you're looking for is metallic.
Yeah. Yeah. So...
like, just...
Yeah, no, I understand. There's also some other things in this story that kind of pissed me off, like in terms of writing construction. It was like pretense, past tense kind of thing, or present tense.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah,
well, not a lot. I'm probably making it sound like every other sentence is fucking.
But no, like there's a few.
This sentence is past tense. This sentence is present tense. It's not like that.
No,
but it does happen a few times. There are a few things, but that was the first one that I
metallic,
caught, and I was just like,
and it's
metallic-y?
like.
You're looking for metallic.
Yeah.
You had it, and then you added a
dash Y.
And I just gotta say, dash Y.
Exactly. And yeah, almost like a mouthful of pennies. Dun dun. Title drop. Anyways.
No, because whatever.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, those words are there. Sorry. So, yeah, and so sometimes I just like you being wrong. Okay,
I understand. And so they're looking like behind themselves like every 10 seconds, and then they look back like forward again, and there's this blurry figure thing that's down low to the ground, and it looks like it has arms and legs like a human, but everything else is blurry on it. And so the character runs away from this thing, like you do. And as they're running,
like you do,
yeah, I'm just like, nope. And they turn around to look to see if it's still following, and it's like scuttling toward them. And then they turn around and they hit a
tree,
and they wake up.
George of the Jungle.
Yeah, pretty much. Watch out for that. Anyway,
this musical interlude brought to you by. I don't know what the fuck either.
God damn it. They wake up from...
in their driveway.
Yeah, in their driveway with their dad, like, hovering over them. The dad helps them out and brings them inside.
Which, I mean, that's gotta be your first clue that something's up. Because, man, how many people hover?
Are you okay? Takes him over to the couch, grabs an ice pack. A little later the day, the dad calls out, asks for the 2 steaks from the fridge. Oh no, it is a kid, like a guy, because it's his name's Jack. Because the dad asks, "Hey Chris, can you get me some steaks?" And then the son comes up to him and is like,
"Kids are like, my name's Jack, not Chris. But here's the fucking steaks."
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, this part also kind of bugged me. It was just like, and then he just took the steaks and walked into his bedroom, and then came out a little time later with an empty pack and just
threw them out.
And I was like, all right, whatever. And he all right, I'm not going to question that. No, you question that. Like, what the fuck is that up with? And then
either he's having sex with raw meat, or he's eating
raw steak,
or
which
there's no reason. There is nothing good you can do in a bedroom with raw steaks.
Exactly. And then a little later, like around 10 or 10:30, he comes up to the living room and tells Jack to go to bed, which was weird because it's a Friday and he usually lets him stay up early. But I'm not going to question that either. So
I'm a good kid. I go to bed when I'm told.
Yeah. So
I mean, fucking suspension of disbelief gone.
No, seriously. And he goes to bed at about 3:00. His bedroom door slowly opens up, and he fakes going to sleep, and his dad...
fakes being asleep.
Sorry, fakes being asleep. And his dad sits on the end of his bed, and just starts, like, mumbling something incoherent, and then leaves. And then the next morning, he finds his dad on the couch sleeping, and wakes him up and asks him about what the weird stuff that happened yesterday. And he's like, "What are you talking about? I got in late last night yesterday at around 4:00 in the morning. I haven't been home since the day before." And it was like, "What? But you were here." And then he explains, and they're both terrified by the revelation of this. Even though I'm pretty sure in real world the dad would not be believing this, but who knows? Maybe he has a believer of a dad. He has a dad that trusts him, maybe. I don't know.
Well, and I mean, it's not like the guy's a 7-year-old kid. He's 16.
Yeah, exactly. So, that was just...
So he's all like, "Oh, man," and the two of them never go out into the woods again. But sometimes when he's around his dad, he'll get a faint taste of pennies in mouth. Yeah. Not in my mouth, just in mouth.
Yeah. And that's the end of the story. So, it was... Okay, so reading this thing, so if anybody has been listening to our podcast, they may recall the goat man story. This one kind of at a certain point, when they're walking in the woods and stuff, and he encounters the creature for the first time. I kind of got the feeling it's is this just somebody else trying their hand at using that entity from the goat man story? And It does also, as the story goes on, it kind of shares the same thing. It's harmless, practically. The entire story. It has this creepy stalkerish thing to it, but otherwise this thing is, it helps, they hurt themselves in the woods. They breaks him to his house, assumes the form of the dad, brings him inside, gets an ice pack for him, asks for some food, goes and has some food, then tells him to go to bed, and then just comes up to his room at really late in the night and just kind of mumbles some stuff, but doesn't do anything and just walks out, and that's it. So it's
Also, you keep bringing up this ice pack, and there is no ice pack.
Really?
Really.
What the hell? I thought, okay.
Yep, I know.
Sorry.
You better be.
Better. So... Yeah, this monster, sure, it's creepy in the fact...
I think it's a little off to call it a monster.
Okay, this entity, this shapeshifter, is just helping this person out. He's just it's just a little
and wants a couple of steaks as payment.
Yeah, it chased. It probably oh, we're playing tag, so it chased him out, and then the person hurt themselves. Oh no, I'll take you to your home. It's I'm going to look really weird.
How does he know where it
exactly? Yeah,
lives? How does he know what the dad looks like? There are questions here and there, but
yeah, I'm not saying it's a fantastic story, but. It's just there are some creepy parts of it, but it's not overbearingly creepy.
There's mostly what the fuck moments.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of a weird story.
Dad goes into the fucking bedroom with raw steaks and comes out with
empty
empty packages of raw steaks, and you're just meh.
Oh yeah, this.
I understand. You like to keep raw steaks in your sock drawer.
What? Yeah, or just why? The first thing was my name's Jack, not Chris. Are you feeling okay, Dad? But
yeah,
no, it just doesn't question it. It's
yeah,
all right.
It
was the first of why are you not questioning?
Well, yeah, but that was immediate. I was also immediately followed by the
steaks.
Fucking raw. So it kind of got overshadowed by a bigger, stupider moment.
Yeah. But yeah, it almost it felt like this entity was just trying to help a brother out. There's no it felt like E.T. It felt like I was reading a variant of E.T. The monster is not threatening at all in this story. He's a little guy that lives in the woods and can assume different forms and just want a little bit of payment for his troubles.
Yeah,
in the form of rustic. Yeah, there's I don't know, it's just. It's an interesting story. It's just not creepy to me at all.
No.
They made the monster likable.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
There's nothing really, okay, it's a little creepy when it, comes into his room that night, but at the same time, it didn't do anything.
I'd just say it's more of just a weird tale. I don't know.
And it has a cool idea almost. Oh, okay, never mind. There is something about an ice pack. My bad.
Man, I'm just
there was almost a cool Invasion of the Body Snatchers story in here, but it's completely ignored by the dude who wrote it.
Yeah. It's almost like
there could have been something awesome. Well, maybe not even awesome, but there could have been something fun, maybe a little different, and it's just silly ass moments.
Yeah, it was almost like I want to make a creepy story, but I don't want to make the monster.
But I don't know how to
exactly.
At all.
But I don't want the monster to be terrifying. I want to be likable. It's like E.T. It's I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, if you're gonna try and write a creepy story, familiarize yourself with Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
Not
E.T.
Not E.T. or Flight of the Navigator or what have you.
Or Mac and Me.
Fucking Mac and Me, man. Why you gotta be like that?
Yeah.
Or the Goonies.
Exactly, yeah. It felt it felt like a Spielberg fucking tale. With the start of it. Anyway.
And not in a good way.
No, because that's what we wanted. We want, the creepiness. It's on the Reddit NoSleep thing, for God's sakes. This is not going to leave me, sleepless at night.
No, not really.
In fact, I'm almost comforted by the fact that there's a good Samaritan in the woods. It's
Yeah, he's a little creepy. Kind of gives off a bit of a rape vibe, but
it's kind of like a misunderstood monster, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame kind of thing. He's not really there's creepy moments in that story, but he's not really a bad guy at all. He's just a misunderstood. I don't know. Just yeah. My opinion on it is that it was an interesting story, like a little tale, but it's not a creepy story. It's not a creepy pasta.
It's not creepy at all, and it could have been.
It's cool,
something cool,
fiction,
but it was not handled well.
Yeah, as a creepypasta, I couldn't recommend it.
No.
I would recommend it as a weird fiction because
even that I don't recommend it because I'm sure there's someone who took this idea and did it better.
Yeah,
or more comprehensive, or at least without the fucking raw steak in the bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. There's got to be there's probably another story out there that made a little bit more sense. I do like the inclusion,
why couldn't the thing just, it's got hands, why can't it just go in the fridge and grab the fucking steak?
I don't know. It's a valid point, but I don't know. It's why do you have to get the kid to do it? It's just I saved your life, kinda. How about you go do that for me? Well, I feel I'm lazy.
Yeah, but then it walks to the fucking bedroom.
I know. I'm just. It's not exactly it's not a solid rebuttal for that.
Yeah. And also, why does it wait for the kid to go into the woods to impersonate his dad? Why doesn't it always just do that?
And now apparently it pops in every so often, or.
Yeah, it checks in on him, or theoretically.
Yeah, exactly, because we have... That's the thing, the smell is a cool...
Or it's just, psychosomatic.
Yeah. That's possible. The smell was an interesting,
You mean the taste?
Sorry, not the smell. The taste was an interesting...
indicator?
Indicator, yeah. Thanks.
But it's completely not utilized.
Yeah, not utilized to the fullest of it should be.
It's mentioned at the top... And then it's mentioned
right
at the bottom,
but we have nothing at the beginning.
But while he's recovering from running into a tree, there's no mention of it.
Yep.
And there really should have been.
Yeah, there should have been I kept tasting this pennies in my mouth. And then the next day he went when I went to go up to my dad, it's I no longer tasted pennies in my mouth.
Yeah, he could have been worried that he had a concussion or something.
Yeah,
because you fucking face first into a tree. You know what? Maybe you got a head injury. But then the next day, it must have been it must not be a thing because I don't taste the pennies anymore. And then you get the reveal of every now and then I taste pennies when I'm around my dad. Again, this story just wasn't handled to the best of its... Well, it was handled to the best of its ability, theoretically, but it could have been...
It should have been looked at a couple of times.
This story could have been way better, and it's not.
Yeah. It could have been... It should have been, looked at, and then,
there was a cool idea buried in here.
Yeah.
The guy who wrote it should, work on his writing.
Because there were a couple of
issues, there's lots of issues.
Mm-hmm.
There's issues all over the place. The whole thing, it can't be recommended as a good story because it's not good. There's some fun ideas, but they're not explored properly. But they should keep writing and get better at it because, like, this idea could be kind of cool, and they still came up with the idea. Mm-hmm. So, they just need to work on their writing a lot. Yeah. I cannot stress that enough. A lot. Because this is something I can't recommend at all. Just because it's full of fucking holes. But...
yeah, okay. So
there's a cool idea buried in there.
Yeah, so if you're listening, whoever wrote this, good first attempt, but...
No, but...
good first attempt, but like
no,
for this...
not a good first attempt. Okay. It's poorly executed in every facet. There's just a cool idea buried in that horrible execution.
That's what I meant by that.
That means that they should keep trying and develop themselves.
Yes, sorry, that's what I mean.
Because not everyone can come up with a funky idea, let alone execute it. So, if you can already come up with a funky idea, well, it's kind of half the battle, right?
Yeah.
And the rest of it, you can work on it. Sort of. Maybe. Hopefully.
Yeah. We read this. We read all three of these stories on the NoSleep Reddit threads. I know Mouthful of Pennies is read by OggReads on YouTube. So I mean, if you still want to check it out, I mean, we're not really recommending it, but if you want to, go for it. I think that's pretty much it. So the first one, calls from my girlfriend, would recommend, at least for me.
Yeah.
Second one, no. And then Mouthful of Pennies, at this point, cannot recommend.
No.
So, that was it for this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments and messages for us, you can get a hold of us. You can leave it in a comment section below wherever this gets posted, either on Tumblr, Kiwi6, Facebook, YouTube. We're both on Twitter at Dr. Leviathan and Review Cultist. We're also on iTunes, so if you'd like to leave us a review, that would be cool. And you can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. Or you can also send us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. We also have, if you'd like to support us, you can donate on the Tumblr site at crazonstudios.tumblr.com. We have a donate button, so just click the link there and send us some patronage. So that is it for our episode. And so until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.
I can watch it picking up my voice in the mirrored door, mirrored door, mirrored door, mirrored door, mirrored door, mirrored door.